Welcome back. Well, this will be my 5th tutorial on how to make an RPG game on Scratch. If you haven't seen the previous videos, you may want to look down in the description and click on one of the earlier videos. So I'd just like to embed a lot of different things into my videos. In this video, we'll look at how to add different costumes to our item, and we'll look at maybe making a locked door. But first, before we do that, I want to show you a few things. First, at this point, your game's getting bigger, and if you didn't know, there's different. So while you're building it, you should be saving it, and it saves automatically every so often. But before you close Scratch, you should save your game if it hasn't saved already. And there's another function called Save as a Copy. And so if you've been following along, you notice that in my RPG Studio I have multiple copies of each lesson, and this is how I go about doing that. So I make a copy and I change the name to what I'm creating. So we'll call this Lesson 5 Different Item Clones and Locked Door RPG. Okay? And you won't be able to see it unless I share it, so I'll go ahead and share that. Alright? Right now it's identical to Lesson 4 because I copied Lesson 4. And this is just how I go about making these lessons so that you can look at the lesson after the project after you're done with the lesson to compare your code if you're using that. Another thing that I want to point out on this one is I have all these variables being shown, and it's starting to clutter up my game. So if you go to variables and click on the boxes here, they'll go away. And most of these I don't need. I'd like to keep track of how many coins I have and my XY coordinates. And that's about all that I'm really concerned about. So this is where we left off last time. We have these item clones. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some graphics here. So before I started the video, I typed into image search, sprite sheet RPG items, and I'm looking at, where was it? I saw a really good one. So when I click on these, you can see, like, that's not a bad one either. You can see when I click on them, notice how the background didn't go away? That's not going to work very good for your game. But watch this one. See how there's no background? Here's another example. There's no background. Those are going to work out better for you because they won't have. You don't have to clean up the picture, the costume when you create it. So when you're looking to bring something in, you don't want something with a background like this one. I mean, you can use it. It's just going to take you a lot longer to be able to use it. Same thing with this one. It looks like there's no background, but there is. And that just makes it more difficult to work with. Where these, the black in the background, that has a background, that's not a good one. But this one's better. But hang on, I found a really good one I wanted to use. Let me try to find that again. Where did it go? You know what? I'm not looking for the right thing. I want a coin. Ah, here we are. This is right. Okay. So I'll click on this one. And see how it like disappeared? The background disappeared. And I like this one. It has a lot of cool items on it that I could possibly use. Alright, and so I'm going to click on Save Image As. And I'm going to save this. It's called items. I don't know. Items. I'll call it items 10. I don't know, so I'll remember which one. And I'm just saving it to my desktop. I could just delete it later after I upload it into Scratch. All right. Okay, so also, I want to show you something. So at the bottom of my videos, I'm leaving a link to the current project and my studio. So let's look at my studio first. So the RPG studio I have for you, as I make lessons, I leave that project in the studio so you can take a look at it. So it's not there yet, but if you're watching this video, it'll be there. The lesson 5 project will be there. And so I'm going to have you should do just basically what I'm showing you with the lesson 5 project, which will be there, as I'm doing right now with a different project. So I'll try to help you understand what I'm talking about. So if I just go into, and I'm going to grab this project right here. You won't have access to this project, but the sprite that I'm going for will be in there. At the bottom of your screen here, there's this thing called Backpack, and if you click that, now you won't have all the things I have in here, but regardless what you have in here, you can 2-finger click and delete stuff if you like, if you don't want it in there. But what I'm asking you to do is go into the project that I'm tying to this lesson, my lesson 5, and you can grab this. There'll be a sprite called tile sets. You can grab it and put it right in your backpack. Okay? And once that loads, then you can go back to your project, just like I'm going to go back to my lesson 5 project, which is right here. And when I open up that project, I'm going to go inside, and I'm going to click on the backpack, and I'm just going to pull that tile sets sprite and put it into add it as a sprite into my game. Now there's already a code built into it to hide it, because we're never going to use this as in the game, other than we're just going to pull graphics from it. So I already have quite a bit of costumes made here, so later in later tutorials, I'll probably pull stuff right from this tile set sprite so that we can just grab it from the same place. You don't have to use these sprites. Just giving you an example of how you can, just an easy way to get some of these. I just pulled these off the internet doing Google searches, just like I showed you. And if you find a good sprite sheet you want to add to it, just go to the tile set, and then click on Upload Costume. And remember, we just downloaded that item costume. It's on my desktop, and I just looked for it. It was items 10. Okay? I'm not sure. I'm just going to upload that items 13 too while I'm at it. I think I downloaded that off video, and I'm going to pull that in too. Why not? All right? So just because you use it in here doesn't mean you have to use everything on here. Some items you won't use, and others you will. Okay, so now I just uploaded 2 different sprite sheets that I found online, and I want to make a coin. I want a coin picture. That one doesn't really seem to have a very good coin. I don't know. I guess these things could be coins. The other one has kind of like this ruby looking thing. I could use that, and there's a key there too. So I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to highlight and copy that ruby. And I'm going to just take that, get rid of this purple coin that I just made when we did that in lesson 2. And I'm just going to trade out that picture with this green picture. And that's really that simple. If we look, now instead of 3 purple coins, I have these 3 green rupees. Okay? And so that's cool. That gives me a new costume. And I'm just going to, instead of being costume 1, I'm going to call this coin. And I'm going to call this empty. I just like empty. It's like gone. Okay, and when I make those changes, they change here automatically, which is nice. All right, so nothing changed. I just changed the name. I like to name my costumes things that I understand what they are. All right, now I'm going to add another costume. So I'm going to say, this is on my coin item. Okay, and so maybe instead of calling this coin, I'm going to change the name to this sprite, because these are going to be items. Okay, I'm going to have more than just coins on this one sprite. I'm going to add keys to it now. So I'm going to highlight this and hit paint, and I have a blank costume. Well, let's go ahead and call it key. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the tile set that had the key on it, and we'll use this key right here. Copy that, go back to items, and I'm going to paste it right in. And of course, I'm going to, let me zoom in a little bit, I'm going to center it. So always center your item, your costumes. It's just a good habit to get into. All right, so I have this new costume called Key. All right. So now I'm going to go into the code, and I'm going to create a new block that's going to be very similar to this, except for instead of create coin, it's going to be create key. Okay? So I'm going to say make a block, create key. Key. All right? And I'm going to add 4 inputs. And the first one is show x, y, x, y, and item ID. Okay? All right, so it's almost, as you can see here, it's almost identical to create a coin. It's just create key. All right? Okay. Now, I'm just going to double-click this and duplicate that. It's going to be basically the same code. And I don't know if this is necessary or not, but you know, these placeholders, they came from this. So I'm just going to replace them with the placeholders from this block. And thankfully this one doesn't have a whole lot to do here. Sometimes this can take a long time to replace them all. But this code's pretty basic. And instead of switching costume to coin, we're going to switch it to key. And we're going to need to make a new variable though, because these aren't coins, these are keys. So this will keep track of something different, how many keys we have. And so basically when we touch the key, we're going to change the variable keys by 1, meaning we'll get a key. Or if we already have a key, we'll have 2 keys, and so on and so forth. Okay? But just like we always want to do, we don't want to create a variable and not give it a value at the start of the game. And in this case, we don't have any keys at the start. So we have 0 keys. And as you can see, again, we have all of these variables displayed. We don't need all those. So I'm going to, all I really want are keys, coins, X, and Y. So I'll put my keys there, my coins here, and I'll reset the game. And so I can still pick up coins, but I don't have a key in the game yet. I created a custom block for the key, but what I need to do is create a key. So just like we're just going to use the same code, so I'll just duplicate that. This is going to be item number 3, and its item ID will become 4. All right. And we'll put it on 0, 0 for now, and we'll just put it at 100, 100. Why not? Nothing else is there, so we don't want it like underneath something. And actually, let's pull that out, because let's create a coin. Let's do create a key. And we'll just copy those same coordinates, though. 0, 0, 100, 100, 100, and item 4. All right? And we can just toss that up. All right. So now when I reset the game, I should have a key, but I don't. And the reason why is I'm only making 3 clones. So whenever we add something, remember, you need to repeat it now 4 times because we have 4 items. And now I have a key. Okay, see, it's over there. And same process, when I touch the key, it goes away because we switched the costume to empty. But instead of coins going up, my keys went up. All right? Cool. So now we have a key. All right? I actually am going to put that key in the room over to the left. So I'm going to say it's in 0, -1. All right? Now, let's see. So now there's no key here. But when I go walking through into this room, I'm sorry, I meant to say -1, 0. Okay? I'll reset again. I want it in there. Okay? And there it is. There's the key. All right? Okay. So now let's make a locked door. For right now, I'm just going to create a new sprite. I'm just going to paint it. Just create it. And I'm going to go to bitmap. Just things work better that way. And I'm going to make a, I don't care what color it is, just a purple block here. Alright? And I don't know why it's not showing up yet. Ah, there it is. Okay. Okay, so you might say, well, why isn't it on the edge? Well, I don't know why, but the default setting should be 0, 0. I don't know what sets this to be out of center, but now it's centered. Okay, and why not? We'll just go ahead and get started coding this thing. So when we start the game, center it. All right, and here I'm not centering it because, well, I want it over here on the left-hand edge. Now another way I could do is I could center it and then we could move it over there too. That's another option. But for right now, we'll just do it this way, where I'm just going to put it in the position I want it in. It's like something like this. Make it a little bigger. All right. And let's see, want to go there for me. All right, it's not bad. So sometimes I get a little bit carried away making graphics look good that aren't even going to stay there. So, well, here we go. We'll call this a locked door. Okay? And now, of course, I can walk through the locked door, and it's still on that board and all that. So, but we haven't coded it yet. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to player 1, and we're going to look at his code. It's down here at the bottom where we couldn't walk through walls, and we're just going to add an operator here. So we have something new that we can't walk through, and we're going to call it locked doors. So I'm going to duplicate that. So if I'm touching walls or I'm touching a locked door, then I can't go through it. All right? So now I cannot go through my locked door. Great. Perfect. All right? But I can pick up my key. All right? Now, we're going to have the key unlock the door. So, I'm back to the locked door sprite, and let's just go over the costumes real quick, and we'll just make an empty costume. All right? And we'll call this one locked door, and we'll call this one open. All right? And I may not use that, but all right. So when we start the game, we want the door to be, the costume to be open. So here's my idea. We're going to walk through, and when we enter this room, the door is going to lock. So then we'll be able to grab the key and unlock it. All right? So when I start the game, the costume is open. I'm going to say if, and I'm not sure if I will need an if, then, or else. I'm not sure. So let's just do if. Well, let's do if, then, else. Okay? And we'll go to looks. And, no, I'm sorry, operators. And we're going to use a code we use a lot with our system. We're going to say if, basically, picking what board we're on. So if my xy coordinates, so join apple banana, but join xy, if my xy coordinates are equal to -1, 0, okay, then we're going to switch our costume. So I'll just duplicate that, throw that away. We're going to switch our costume to locked door. Okay? And again, we should put this in a forever loop because this is whenever this happens. All right? Else, and we'll just say else switch costume to open. Okay? So now I'll reset the game, and we're not on that board, so it doesn't show up. And then when I go over there, I got a glitch. And the problem is my movement. It's the thickness of that door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my XY coordinate system, and I'm just going to give myself just a little more room when I use the XY system. So instead of negative 145, I'm going to do negative 140. And I'm going to do positive 140 here instead of 145. And I'm just going to see if that works for me. You'll see. So we'll go here, and I'll go into that room, and I'm still getting that glitch. Let me go back to my player. Let's do negative 135, and we'll do 135. I don't want to make this too extreme because I want to kind of be in the doorway. It's still happening. So I'm just going to make it just a little bit more. We'll just say 130. That's Y position. Whoops, 145. No, we'll just say 150 and negative 150. And sometimes you just have to play with your boundaries to see what works. And you know, the problem is those boundaries that I'm changing, that's for all my game. All right, that worked. And let me reset it so you can see it again. And hopefully you're understanding what's happening here. So basically, this is the very edge of that wall, so that I'm not touching the wall and it's not shooting me over to here. Okay? All right, so now I have this locked door, and it only appears when I come in this room. So it like locks behind me. All right. So now I'll go back to the locked door, and now we need to unlock it. So we're going to use another if statement. Okay, so if and sensing touching. So if we're touching player 1, and then I'm going to do another control. If operator, if we have some keys, so if keys are greater than 0, that means I have at least 1, right? Then we're going to we're going to hide. We could switch backpack to open, costume to open, I mean, but I don't think that'll work because basically it'll always come back every time we come on this board. So we're going to, it's going to hide it, so it's going to go away. But also we got to use up a key. I want to use a key, so I'm going to not set, but change keys by -1. All right. Okay, now let's try it out. So if I walk over to this key, I grab it. I have one key. I touch it, and my keys go to 0, and I unlocked the door. And when I come back, it doesn't come back either. Like that door is now unlocked for the rest of the game. It's gone. So I'll reset. Let's check it out, see if it works again. I walk into the room and it doesn't come back. Aha, right. The reason why is it's still hidden. So when we start the game, we want to show it. All right? All right, now when I start the game. Now, you might say, well, I thought you said show. Well, it only shows when we're on this board. So now we're locked in. We can't get out of the room. We grab the key. We come back, and now we can unlock the door. Boom. All right, awesome. All right, I hope that works for you. I hope you are able to get your door to work and have multiple items. And stay tuned for the next video, and I'll show you some more coding and how to create an RPG. But until next time, we'll see ya.